Hey Transformers fans, here I am again with another video review. This time I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Transformers The Last Knight Deluxe-class Dinobot Slash. This is the second Dinobot that I've got from this line. I also got the new version of Grimlock, so I'll do a little comparison with him. Yeah, otherwise I haven't really picked up any of the other Dinobots. These are the only two that I've got so far. Because like I said in my review for Grimlock, I didn't really like the deco and the colors on the Age of Extinction line, but the ones for The Last Knight seem to be a lot better, a lot more show accurate. And I know that, you know, this particular guy wasn't even in the movie, in the Age of Extinction movie, so maybe he'll get some screen time in Last Knight, I'm hoping, because I always like to have figures that are actually on screen. You know, he looked really cool, and I was able to get him on sale, so I decided to pick him up. And pleasantly surprised, he's actually a pretty cool little figure. So in terms of the packaging, we can see the new Last Knight, you know, deluxe class boxes that they're coming out with. Nice picture of Slash in his Dino mode, kind of wraps around again there. As you can see, obviously it's the Premier Edition, which I'm assuming, or, you know, kind of at this point, I think we understand that they're just basically more movie accurate decos, not necessarily any, you know, massive overhauls to the molds or anything like that, but, you know, certainly better looking paint jobs, at least, especially on the Dinobots. Dinobot Slash is a stealth warrior. That's the only kind of bio that we get. On the back, you can see nice little pictures of Slash in his Dino mode and his robot mode, as well as a couple of his wave mates, Bumblebee and Barricade. Yeah, so in terms of the packaging, that's pretty much it. Yeah, onto the figure himself. So here we have Dinobot Slash in his robot mode, and he's a pretty cool looking little figure. You know, he's stocky and, you know, kind of really wide in terms of his proportions, but overall looks really cool. I like the head sculpt on this guy, you know, which is you know, like I said, it's just basically a straight repaint of the Age of Extinction figure. But this deco is definitely a lot better in terms of, you know, how I think, you know, these things should really look. They should be metallic and grays and things like that, you know, versus the original one, which was, you know, this guy was like bright green and just all kinds of crazy colors. All of the Dinobots were, but the new ones seem to be a lot more muted in their colors, and I think it works really well. His arms, you know, limited articulation in his arms. You've got a rotation there, ball joint, but there's no wrist, and you can't really, like the bicep is just kind of like that. So it's not tremendous articulation with his hands. His legs, yeah, a little bit more articulation in his legs. You know, legs are a little skinny, but overall, I mean, for a size of, you know, this is a pretty small figure, so it works pretty well. One thing that I don't necessarily think is really kind of cool on this guy, sorry, I was out of focus there for a bit. These rubbery pieces here, which are really, you know, designed to cover up some gaps and holes in his Dino mode, which really are, you know, even in Dino mode, they're pretty unnecessary. I've actually seen some people push the pins out of these little, you know, little frilly things and just pop them off, and then it makes the robot mode look a lot better. So I might actually do that and just sort of put them in storage. But otherwise, yeah, he's pretty cool. You know, he's got a little bit of kibble on his back, but most of these guys do. It's not really any way to get around that, unfortunately. But otherwise, yeah, he's pretty good. I like his kind of little axe, you know, dual battle axe things that he's got here. And these are that same rubbery material, so they're flexible. But yeah, nice shiny metallic paint on a lot of them, on his chest, on his legs, and even the plastic itself. Like these pieces here are not actually painted, but you can still see that they have that sort of metallic shine to it built into the plastic, which looks really, really nice. So in terms of comparing to one of his fellow Dinobots, here he is next to my Grimlock. And as you can see, pretty substantial size difference between the Deluxe Slash and the Voyager Grimlock. But still, you know, keeping with that metallic, you know, metallic decos, you know, these two look really, really nice together. You know, when you compare how these two look together versus what the Age of Extinction figures looked like, if you put them side by side, I mean, these look way, way better in my opinion. So I'm definitely happy to have these Dinobots in these decos. You know, probably will end up picking up more of the Last Knight Dinobots simply because they do look so much better than the original releases of these molds, and it would look really cool to have all of the Dinobots on the shelf together. So here he is also next to Deluxe Bumblebee, and this is the Age of Extinction Bumblebee. I didn't pick up the last night one because I already had this guy and I like this deco better. But as you can see, he's, you know, shorter, wider, but still sort of relatively the same mass and same scale as the rest of the Deluxes in the line. And one more comparison before we go to transformation. There he is next to one of his enemies, Barricade. Really dig this figure. Definitely looking forward to seeing what he does in the movie in his new form. In terms of the transformation, it's exactly the same as the Age of Extinction one, which I'm sure you've seen a few times, so I'll just kind of do it quickly. Pop these battle axes out, obviously. Those do have storage in bot mode and in Dino mode. Actually, if I should just show this off. So if you want to store these while he's in robot mode, you can just kind of tuck them into his Dino arms, which kind of fold on the back there, and then you've got weapon storage in his robot mode if you don't want him holding them. So that's kind of a nice touch. So I'll just leave that in there because these can just kind of tuck in there, and you don't need to take them in and out for transformation, so they can just stay in there. But yeah, so we kind of start by folding these down a little bit, and you can actually fold the tail up, which covers his head. You can push that in place. And then this whole section that is around his arms that has the shoulder pads and then the dino hands and all that stuff kind of folds down, and you'll see that this piece here on both sides wraps around and kind of clips around his arms, so that just kind of folds down out of the way for the time being. And you'll see that his arms now kind of fold out, and you just rotate the foot like that, fold the arm in on itself, rotate the foot, and then flip out the foot like that. And then these kind of rotate down out of the way for the time being. Make sure you push that all the way up to hold his head or cover his head up. Then this, now the feet the feet that transform into the head and neck are a little bit tricky. These kind of flip around like that, and then the whole leg section kind of rotates around. And you can kind of see that forms his neck, and then these two pieces sort of fold in like that. Like that. A lot of rotations and things like that on these figures in terms of the transformation. And then you can just kind of push his jaw down, and then the head, you can kind of see it's on a double hinge there. Yeah, it's on a double hinge, so you kind of just fold that up like that. You got one half of his mouth. Do the same on the other side, just fold that up like that. And then you can join both sides of the head and neck and all of this stuff together. There's a whole bunch of like pegs and holes and tabs and stuff, and everything just kind of lines up and goes in like that. There we go. So now this goes up, and these pieces fold down and just kind of fill in his belly area there. Things don't necessarily tab in too terribly securely on this guy, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Yeah, so there we have pretty much. Come on. These, there's a little like circular bit in this soft plastic that kind of clips around the post where the ball jointed leg is, and that kind of holds it in a little bit better. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for transformation. There we can just kind of adjust how everything's positioned. You can adjust his legs so that they look a little bit more proper. And there you have Dinobot Slash in his Dino mode, which looks pretty good. You know, I mean, he's definitely, you know, he fills out more in Dino mode than he does in bot mode in terms of like his length and his height and all that stuff. You know, Dino mode, he's very compact and stocky, but in robot mode, he's very compact and stocky, but in Dino mode, he definitely fills out and looks a lot longer. And as you can see, nice, you know, lots of silver paint accents, you know, on the spikes, head, his eyes are red, teeth are all painted, claws are all painted on both his feet and his hands. And just, yeah, really nice deco choice, nice paint, nice colors. All in all, looks really, really good. Yeah, so I don't have any other ones transformed to compare him to right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, transform Grimlock quick, and get him in here for side-by-side. Okay, so here we see Slash in his Dino mode next to Grimlock in his Dino mode, and in terms of scale, I forgot to put his little horns down. In terms of scale, this is where, you know, the Dinobots don't necessarily work with a Voyager next to a Deluxe, because, you know, obviously the type of dinosaur that Slash is, I think he's, you know, supposed to be a Velociraptor or a Deinonychus or something like that. You know, next to Grimlock should be, you know, substantially bigger than this. And I mean, if scale is your thing, this isn't going to work. But, you know, they do look really cool together, again, because of the deco changes that they made. You know, they definitely have a lot more of the metallics going on, which looks really, really nice. So, I mean, I personally will probably display them in their robot modes, so the scale works a little bit better. But even if you are going to display them in their dino modes, they still look nice. It's just the scale's a little off. But yeah, so overall, I'm pretty happy with Slash as a figure. You know, for a figure that wasn't in the movie that I was apprehensive about getting, you know, he works really well, and I hope that he actually does get some screen time in The Last Knight, because it would be really kind of cool to see them expand the roster of Dinobots and you know, have them do more, which I think that they're going to. I know that Grimlock is probably going to be more front and center in this movie, but it would be nice to see the other Dinobots get a little bit more action too. So yeah, that's my look at Transformers Last Knight Deluxe-class Dinobot Slash. Hope you guys, everybody enjoyed the video. You know, as always, would appreciate, you know, a like or a subscribe or a comment or anything, as well as check out the rest of my videos. Would appreciate any thoughts that you might have on those. So again, thanks very much for watching, and we will talk to you again soon.